clients that are coming in all the time that just rant and rave about your business, it's the best form of word of mouth. So get them talking about how much they love your services. Get them on video saying why they come to you every month. And then they're sharing that with their following, and they're talking about it when they're out for coffee and out for drinks. And that's when the snowball effect happens.
Welcome to The Expansion Code. I'm Heather, and I could not be more excited to finally launch this podcast. This is the space where we dive into all things business, growth, leadership, and team expansion. I am really passionate about building something bigger than myself, sharing knowledge, and creating opportunities for others to thrive. I started solo, and now I lead a team of over 50, so trust me, I know the highs and the challenges and the incredible moments that come with scaling a business. Throughout this podcast, I'll be sharing insights, strategies, and conversations with some truly incredible guests. We are going to cover everything from marketing and leadership to mindset shifts and business expansion. So my goal is to give you real, actionable takeaways that you can apply to your own journey. Let's dive in, learn together, and unlock what's next. Welcome to The Expansion Code. Welcome back to another episode of The Expansion Code with Heather Dick. That is me, your host. Today, I have some badass women with me. They are the co-founders and CEOs of Virago Social Co. It is a marketing agency that I have had the pleasure of working with personally myself for Blush and The Expansion Code. And I am so excited to have you with me today. It is nice to have you. How are you doing?
Awesome.
Yeah, we're great. And thank you so much for having us, Heather. We're really excited.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, me too. So I'm going to do a little disclosure here. For our listeners, we tried to do this episode once before. We had so many technical difficulties. It was crazy. We've changed the outline of how we're going to do things. And we're almost going to do like an interview rapid fire style, but it's not going to be rapid. We're going to take our time and answer our questions. But Alexa and Justine just have so much to bring to this conversation. And I think each of you have really different inputs. So before we get started, why don't you give me a little bit of background on Virago Social Co., how you came to be, how you got the name?
Yeah. I think you should talk about this and
Sure.
just how it came to be, and then I'll talk about the name and how I came up with that.
Yeah, so I have a marketing background. I've been in the industry for about 8+ years now. And I met Justine actually at a networking event. She was speaking. And we got to talking, and she's like, oh, I'm actually looking for someone to help me like with my social media stuff. Like, I'm just so busy. I can't do it myself. You know, I need to hire somebody. And I was looking for work. I was doing freelance at the time. So I was like, great. So we got together and I did some mock-ups for her and she loved it. So we began working together. I started doing marketing for her med spa. And then one thing led to another. We've been working together for a little while, a few months. And she's like, look, like, I've had some people asking me, like, you know, who's doing your social? Like, what are you doing? And what if we teamed up and we start our own marketing agency and offer these services to other businesses? And, you know, she can kind of speak on the beauty industry and med spa side. I can do speak on more of the marketing background, and we can put our brains together and kind of make magic happen. So that's happened back in, I believe it was like February 2019 that we like officially started. And then we worked for a few years, took a little break in between to have babies and kind of focus on motherhood. And then we've been back now since last year. We kind of did a little rebrand, and yeah, so the name was Justine. She's the creative on that side.
Yeah, so when I first met Alexa, I just knew right away, like, she is a creative genius. Like, anything she touches just turns to gold. And I am a visionary. I like to come up with the ideas. I have these crazy ideas, and anyone that was listening to us would think we're insane because I'm like, this is what I see, and I'm acting it out. And I'm like, I'm seeing this logo with like a swoosh through it, and people will be like, okay, she's insane. And Alexa will be like, okay, yeah, got it. And like an hour later, she takes what's in my mind and she creates it. So, you know, we just work so well together on that front. When we were coming up with our name, I wanted something really strong. So with my other business, my med spa, it's Lipstick Empire. So I love the feminine and the masculine. And so with Virago, it means strong female warrior in Latin, which is very, very cool. Yeah. So
Love that.
At first it was Virago and lace because there's that feminine side too. We had like more pink kind of tones and branding, and we were more female centered, female entrepreneurs. And we just got so many inquiries from male-owned businesses as well. And we're like, we want to work with everybody and make it more inclusive. So we rebranded to Virago Social Co.
Yeah.
So
You know, and
strong
it's
female warrior.
I love that. You need that as a tattoo. You know, I think it's really important. You talk about rebranding, and I think a lot of people are scared to rebrand. And or when they start their business, they don't think about who they're attracting with their colors or their names. And I think that that's a really good point that you guys have started off, you know, very pink and blush, and then you turned into Virago Social Code, just like badass, more gender neutral. Do
Yes.
you
Yep.
feel like it was really hard to rebrand? Like was it a challenging kind of thing to push through?
I don't think so, but I think for us it was a bit of a different situation because we had gone on a hiatus for a couple of
Right.
years. So then it was like we were already coming back anyways. So let's come back kind of with a bang and a new
Yeah.
fresh appearance, new logo, new website, everything. So
Mhm.
it kind of just made sense with the timing.
Yeah. It was hard for me because I'm not a neutrals person. Alexa
Right.
So I was like,
is.
let's do black and white. She's like, but what if we did like hot pink in there too? I'm like, no.
Where's the pink? Like, no pink? It was
Okay, so
hard
for
for me.
everyone,
I'm an addict.
yeah, for everyone listening and not watching, Justine is wearing leopard head to toe. Alexa's wearing white.
Yeah.
um,
It's about right.
That's us.
Okay, I'm gonna go off the script here just a little bit because I want to do. I think rebranding is a really interesting topic, and a lot of people are doing it recently because you know a lot of people started their businesses. Let's say in 2010, branding was very different then. It was like flower crowns and
Yeah.
teal, and you know, like just so
Yeah.
different. So what about those businesses that have stayed operating for the past 10 years, but they want to rebrand? Do you have any advice for someone that's looking to do that? Either of you can answer. I don't, you know, whoever you think is best.
Yeah, I mean, we work with people from inception of their idea all the way through their glow up. And we're seeing a lot of glow ups happening right now. So, like you just said, people that have been in business for 10 plus years, it's like, this logo's a little bit outdated. The colors were really hot then, and now, they're just not the right vibes. So, we have been doing that quite often,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
And people love it. So, it's just a refresh and like a chance to do a relaunch and kind of reestablish yourself.
And also just to like elevate too, right? Because
Yeah.
you have people when they're just starting out, maybe they can't necessarily, afford to invest in getting like a professional logo done. So they just make something themselves. But now maybe they're established to a point where they can invest a little bit of money to have a professional branding package done for them, where they're getting everything from logo to a new website, templates. It's all going to be cohesive and just a little bit more elevated.
Yeah. And a new strategy as well.
Yeah, strategy is huge. I mean, a lot of people, I mean, how many people started their business with an idea like, oh, I'm going to do this, you know, and then they're like, oh, crap, I'm doing this for a living. I need to do this properly. So, because our main goal as owning a company is to have brand recognition. So, like when someone sees hot pink and the script blush, they think of blush. When someone sees Virago Social Code, they think of Virago Social Code. So how do you break through that barrier of having a ton of brand recognition for your old colors into your new colors? Do you gradually introduce it, or do you just like, here we go?
Yeah.
I think you just have to do the hard launch. You just have to come out and say rebrand, announce it. Don't just kind of like randomly one day your page is completely different. Like make the announcement, let your people know, send out an email, make a post about it, talk on stories, launch your new website kind of thing. And if you're really kind of stuck on that change, maybe use a color or use some kind of an element from the old branding and just kind of like make it new, right? So for example, let's say Lipstick Empire was going to rebrand, you'd maybe keep the lips incorporated somehow into a new logo so that people still have that one brand mark that they recognize, but it's just in a new elevated way, just as an example.
And we've evolved over time too with lipstick, and we stay within the same kind of color schemes. We just refresh everything.
Yeah, it's important. And, even in person, in the studio, in your space, in your spa, clients love, especially if they're coming every month, every 3 months, they love to see new things happen, and they like it's exciting. And so I think that that's really good. That's really good advice for business owners that might feel a little tired, like us this morning.
Right? A little facelift never hurt anybody.
Yeah, exactly. So the reason why I brought you here today was not necessarily to talk about rebranding, although it's very interesting. Maybe we could do another episode on that. But you guys are the marketing queens. And so when a business is looking to build their business, when they're looking to start out, there's so much information out there that we're just inundated with about how to post on social media, why you should be doing this and how many times you do this and email marketing. And so what I wanted to do today with you guys is break down some myths and really get that like hard information out there for our listeners and maybe your potential clients, because how do we know we're doing it right? And so, and you guys are the pros. So if you're into it, let's dive in.
Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
Okay. So myth number 1 that I came up with was you need a huge Instagram following to grow your business. So Justine, why do you think that follower count is still such a big focus for so many business owners?
Yeah, I think because it's flashy, right? Like it's something
Right.
that people can look at your page and measure like, okay, obviously people love to do business with them. They've got something going on here. They have a presence because they've got this community. But that's not always the case. Like, again, I do talk about my own business, Lipstick Empire, because everything we do for our clients, I test first in my own business. So one thing is like we are a brick and mortar company. So it doesn't matter if we have followers from Vancouver or across Canada or in the States. We need a local community because that's who we're serving. So we have like over 10,000 followers, which is great, but it's all people that we've connected with, we've done business with,
Right.
they've come through our doors. So that's way more impactful, is like building that local community that you can serve. And those are people that are coming in, doing business with you, and it's real, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's still, I know I'm so guilty of this. I will look at a page and I'll say, oh, they have, 20,000 followers.
Right.
They must be legit. And it's like, I've tried to get away from that. Now that we know more of the logistics and back end of things, there's a bigger story there. There's a bigger picture.
Well, and you can buy your followers. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not even like
right?
it's legit, So like I could have 100,000 followers. Yeah. And it's not even real. So I think that, Instagram followers have such like, it creates clout for business owners, but it really
Yeah.
is not it's not the thing that we should be focusing on. Right.
No.
Okay. Alexa. So can you explain the difference between having a big following versus having an engaged community? Because I think a lot of business owners don't actually understand what engagement actually means.
Yeah, 100%. So here's kind of an example. So you could have an account that has like thousands of followers. Maybe you look at their content and it's only getting like 5 to 10 likes for a post, a few hundred views on their reels, and they might not even have any comments on those posts. But then you could look at somebody that maybe only has a few hundred followers, but they're getting 20 to 30 likes on a photo, maybe in the thousands for views, and they're getting lots of comments and engagement on those posts. So if you look at the percentage of actual active followers that they have, that's much higher than those ones that have like 20,000 followers, but they're getting way less. So it really is more about quality over quantity in that sense, right? Like if you'd have a smaller community, but they're actually engaging with you, they're actually booking or DMing you, it just is way more valuable than having just a large follower count, because that's just one metric. And it's really, out of all the metrics you're measuring, probably one of the least helpful. So there's so many other ones that you should be looking at.
And what would you say is the top 3 important things when it comes to engagement? Like you said, comments, shares, views, like what's the most important?
I think comments is huge,
Okay.
because it's just showing Instagram that people are interested in that content if they take the time to actually type out a message to you. So it's going to help boost you in the algorithm. Another really big one is saves and shares. So when people share it to their friends through DMs, or they are saving that post for later, again, it's triggering Instagram algorithm and showing them, okay, this post is valuable. People are sharing it. People want to save it to look at later. So let's continue to boost this person's content.
Okay, that is great information. So, Justine, you and I, we bond over this email marketing, and I love email marketing. So, why do you feel like building a list is more important than having Instagram followers or TikTok followers?
Okay, well, I have to start out with giving you a shout out because you are the email marketing queen, Heather. I'm always so impressed with your emails. I look forward to
Thank you.
them. They're so educational, informative,
Thank you.
love them. You're doing everything right.
Thank you.
And you're creating that community, and you'll hear me talk about that over and over again. That's the secret sauce. Like, that's what's most important. So let's think about the TikTok ban and what happened there. I mean, there were so many businesses where that was their main source of revenue, and that's how they would drive people to their business or to their page. And we saw what happened there. Yes, it didn't last very long, but with your email list, you own it, right? So we really urge our clients to gather the emails from their followers and from their clients and from their, like, engage, have a landing page where you can actually capture that information so you can reach out to them. And that's one of the best ways to do business and to create that repetitive business as well.
So every client that inquires at your business, Justine, do you turn them into, like, do you put them on your newsletter list?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, I
You
think it's,
gotta.
yeah, it's important.
It is. And they've already given you permission to contact, right? So you roll with that. And if they unsubscribe, they unsubscribe. It's fine. They're not your client anymore. But I think there's a big missed opportunity if you're not adding every single person that contacts you to your email list.
Yes, there's a very high conversion rate. So
There is. Yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm going to do a little plug for a resource that I have on my website, because we talk about like all the statistics with email marketing and what your unsubscribe rate should be, what your open rate should be. And it's just a really good free resource. So you can find that on the website under resources. It's just free. You can download it. Okay.
I'm
So Alexa, speak. You can have it too, girls.
okay.
Okay, so Alexa, speaking of freebies,
Yeah.
what would you say are some good ideas or like creative ways to get people's emails and not just like the pop up on someone's website that everyone X's out of, myself included?
Mhm.
Yeah. So I think like one of the ones that people jump to first is some kind of discount, right? Like getting
Right.
certain percentage off your first service if you sign up for the emails or whatever the case may be. But what we like to usually encourage our clients to do is to add some kind of value to a service that is free, but not necessarily discounting the service. So, as an example, for Lipstick Empire, we did a campaign before where if people signed up, maybe they would get a free add-on service to their facial. So they're still coming in, they're paying full price for a service. You're still getting a new client walking through the door, but then they're getting maybe a free jelly mask or some dermablading added to their service. So it's low cost for the provider, but it makes the client feel special. It makes them feel like they got something for free, something extra. And then, they're still, like I said, paying. So that's a really great way to entice people. And then, of course, there's the other side of things where you could just offer some kind of a digital, like your free guide, for example, some kind of a digital freebie that you can create, but it has to be something that's actually going to be of value to people,
Mhm.
not something they can just go on Pinterest and find themselves.
Totally.
Something where you can really pour your expertise into, and something where they're going to be like, dang, I want that enough to
Mhm.
put my email in and sign up for this. So,
Mhm. I also think people need to be cognizant of what you're creating for that free resource. If you're doing something that you're downloading and you just copy and pasted something off ChatGTP, you used AI to create it, it's not in your voice. You're quickly losing that trust in your client, and every single interaction that you have with your
Mhm.
client, whether it's a free resource or adding value, you're building that relationship with your client. And so I think for everyone listening, if you're thinking about doing a free resource, remember that it's very, very important to um, stay true to yourself and your client when you're creating these things. Don't just create free resources to create free resources, because everyone has the internet.
yeah,
Yes. Do
exactly.
everything with intention. Like,
Yeah.
really.
Totally. Yeah,
That's how you build that loyalty.
totally. And I actually, in that free resource, I do say, people can tell when they're being sold to.
Yeah.
So, speak genuinely. And if you really think that your clients would benefit from reading this book, then put
Mhm.
it in your newsletter. If you don't, then leave it out, because people don't want
Yeah.
to be sold to.
Yeah.
I'm ranting. Haven't even had coffee yet.
No, they want to be
Um,
educated, but they don't want to be sold to.
Yeah.
Totally, 100%. They have a problem and they need a solution. That's what it is. It's not a
Mhm.
sales pitch.
Yeah. No.
Okay, this is another myth, but I feel like I struggle with this every single day with my own business, so I can't wait to talk about this. And it's when it comes to social media that you have to post every day to be relevant, because I think we get like not writer's block, but like posting block. It
Mhm.
snowballs. We get so scared. So Alexa, what is your approach to content strategy for your clients who feel overwhelmed by the idea of posting every day, like myself?
I'd say the biggest thing is don't post every day. If that's something that overwhelms you and it feels like something that you can't continue to do and to put your best effort into, then don't do it. And it's not necessary. You can still grow your following. You can still engage with your community by only posting 3 to 4 times a week, if that means that those posts are going to be of higher quality and have more value to your followers. So I would just focus more effort. If you have some time and you want to have a presence on there every day, I would say focus more on the stories instead of actual posts, because they're just easier for you to share, just kind of like raw behind the scene moments of your day, little snippets, or you can reshare content you've been tagged in, things like that. So I think that's an easier way to be on there daily versus posts.
Right.
Like
And it's a
static
black
posts.
Yeah.
hole.
I agree.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
people get sucked, and myself included, you get sucked into it. And it's like, oh, I was going to do a post, and now it's 30 minutes later and I'm looking at someone's baby shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Justine, what does quality over quantity actually look like when it comes to social media? Like this is, here we go. Oh, I wrote my question for me. So like, what is a post that someone will share or save? Like what does that look like?
Well, it has to have value. It has to mean something to your ideal client. So it all comes down to your strategy. And I will just preach this until the bitter end. But having that strategy and building out your avatar, your brand voice, who your client is so important. So you can speak right to that person. So I think I've also brought this up to intention. Be intentional with those posts. Create something that your avatar is going to be interested in. Know where they shop, know where they like to eat, know where they get their coffee. Like really build that out. So anything you do is so curated to that person in particular. And of course, they're going to engage because you're speaking right to them. And people want to be seen and they want to be heard. And like you said, they want you to solve a certain problem. So if we can relay that through posts, I think that's when you get the most engagement and you create that loyal following.
Okay, so you said how you know where your clients shop. How does someone figure that out? Like how do they know where their clients shop?
Yeah, so you work with people like us, and we do market research with you and for you. And we just try to get into the heads of your ideal clients as well. So the strategy that I've worked on for years with lipstick, it's evolved a little bit. We have a couple different avatars and we do figure that out. Like we look at the demographic and we look at the areas that our ideal clientele is living in, and what, a lot of them shop at Loca, or a lot of them go to, the higher end restaurants, and they like Starbucks over Tim Hortons, or like get so specific. And these are all things that we can help you with. And then let's speak to those people.
I love that. That's the definition of intention. Great job.
Yeah.
um, because it's just like it's like a post and pray, like you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
I'll just put this out and hope someone sees it and hope my
Mhm.
ideal clients. But we just don't know, right? And this, especially as like a beauty entrepreneur, we're trained in hairstyling, we're trained in
Mhm.
cut and color or whatever. We're not trained in
Yeah.
marketing, and so
Yeah.
the world is just it's so convoluted now. I think this is really valuable. Okay,
We agree.
so good. I'm glad. Okay, so what kind of content performs best right now, Alexa? Is it still video? Is it like longer, shorter? What's your input there?
Yeah, so video is still huge. As we know, that's what Instagram is still pushing and other platforms are still pushing. Um, I would also say something that a lot of people are missing on is the carousels. Especially now you can add music to carousels. So they'll show sometimes like on the Reels feed with like other videos. So those are really great and they keep people on your post for longer because they're having to swipe through to see all of the different slides. And then kind of what I touched on earlier too is stories is another one that really gets forgotten. And that's the one that's really going to keep your current following engaged. So reels and carousels, that's going to help new people find you, but the stories is really what's going to keep your followers that you currently have because it shows right up at the top of their feed, right? So if they're
Mhm.
clicking on you every single day and keeping up with you, you're always going to be top of mind, right? Your bubble right at the top. So that's something that a lot of people don't even bother doing anything with, and I think it's a huge missed opportunity.
Mm, okay, that's really good to know. And it's true. Like there
And
are
you
some
just
people
taught
that
me
I just kind
about,
of like,
oh, sorry.
no, go
Sorry.
ahead,
I
Justine.
was just going to say, she just taught me about carousels. Well, us the other day, where I thought it was just 10 posts. Now it's up to 20.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's a
that's
lot.
awesome.
That's so many.
Mhm. It is a lot.
But as a photographer, like you could do like color, black and white, like
Mhm.
there's lots of different options that you could do for 20 posts or 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to take a little break because, shocker, this podcast is brought to you by my flagship company, Blush, and I need to give a shout out. So, not only does Blush sponsor my lavish lifestyle, it also sponsors this podcast. Shouts. If you know me, you know that I do not play around when it comes to beauty and self care, and that's why Blush is your one stop shop for looking and feeling your best. We genuinely do it all: hair, makeup, nails, massage, tattoo, medi spa. Basically, if it makes you feel like a goddess, we probably offer it. So, whether you're looking for a fresh balayage or a relaxing massage or a little of that I woke up like this glow, we've got the experts to make it happen. Think of it as self care, but with a little extra love, sunshine, and family. And actually, with our most recent expansion, we now have a private gym, physiotherapy, chiropractic services, and a lot more to help your body. So, if you are ready to treat yourself, book an appointment at Blush Artistry because let's be honest, life's too short for bad hair and uneven eyeliner. You can find us at blush-artistry.ca or over on Instagram at blushartistrymua. Back to the episode. Justine, could you give an example of a high performing post that has actually brought in clients or
Yeah.
sales or something that like really sticks out to you?
I find like with influencer marketing, I do find it does exceptionally well if you find the right fit for your
Mm.
business. I work with Jack from Kiss and Country. She has been a friend of mine for many years, so she genuinely wants to support me and my business. She loves me as a person. I love her as a person. So it's very, very authentic. So when she comes in and any post that she does, she's speaking from her heart. She's like, I love these girls. I love the atmosphere. I love the treatments that I get. And she's so authentic. So that really translates because her followers are like, well, first of all, you're gorgeous. You have a beautiful glow, but we love how you fiercely support this business and we want to be a part of that as well. So finding the right fit, and we love this like daily influencer or the everyday influencer idea where it can be people like clients that are coming in all the time that just rant and rave about your business. It's the best form of word of mouth. So get them talking about how much they love your services. Get them on video saying why they come to you every month. And then they're sharing that with their following and they're talking about it when they're out for coffee and out for drinks. And that's when the snowball effect happens.
Always making sure you're utilizing that collaboration feature on
Yes.
Instagram so that if someone does ever make a reel or a post about you, share or ask them to collaborate the post so it shows up on your feed too. And it's free user generated content that you might as well take advantage of.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And social media is just a very large platform for word of mouth. So
Yeah.
I love that, Justine. Okay. We kind of talked about this earlier when we were talking about email marketing, but talking about selling. One of the myths I think that a lot of people have, and they're like, I'm scared to sell. I don't want to sell. But
Mm-hmm.
the myth that I came up with is that marketing is just selling your services. It's not actually providing anything else to your clients. So, Justine, how do you help businesses shift their mindset from that, like, I'm just selling to I'm building trust or I'm building value? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you do that?
Yeah, I think it comes down to education, and I preach that. And so, if we're talking about our services in such a way where we are educating people on why they may need a certain product or why they may need a certain service, I think that just creates so much value because, again, like I said, we're speaking directly to them. So, we want to find different topics, different skin concerns, and kind of touch on all different pillars within that realm so they can pull something out of that like, oh, okay, this is speaking directly to me. I have concerns with pigment or I have concerns with acne. So kind of creating that strategy and that plan where it's like, okay, I'm speaking to multiple people but delivering the information in different ways. So being creative and just, yeah, speaking right to those people that you want, those
Okay,
heads
I
in
love
beds,
that.
as we've talked about before. Yeah, right. So just
Yeah.
you can have a similar structure or strategy with your content, but just educate on different issues and concerns.
Yeah, education. That's really, I think that's key. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of times we overthink that. We're the professionals, we have all the information that they need. It's not reinventing the wheel. We just need to speak to it.
when people are feeling insecure about selling, or that's something, well, I absolutely don't want to sell to people, it comes across as inauthentic. So if you come from a place of like, I'm just educating them, I'm helping them, I'm here to serve, that really like puts your own guard down. Because if you're feeling insecure about selling to somebody, that's going to translate and they're going to feel insecure and not have confidence in you to actually purchase from you. So
Mhm.
you provide a great service, you believe in what you do, and that will translate.
Yeah. Amen, sister. Preach. Okay, Alexa, so what kind of relationship building content do you recommend for service providers then?
Stories is the biggest one. I just think because it allows you to really feel like you're getting to know someone when you're watching their stories, especially if they're on camera talking to you and they're showcasing some behind the scenes of their day and their personality, and not even just about their work, but even just like their day to day, right? Like, where do they like to go, for dinner? What do they do this weekend? Just kind of a glimpse into their life, especially because, if I'm going to get my hair done and I'm sitting in a chair for 3 hours with somebody, I want it to be someone that I vibe with, somebody that I can have fun with and chat and that I get along with. So when I can see a little bit of their personality, a little bit about who they are, that's what sells to me, right? Like, it's obviously, yes, about the education, like we said, and about the expertise, but there's also that other piece, which is like the person behind the service.
Mhm.
It's so true. And I think we choose, which is really unfortunate because we never had social media 20 years ago, but it is how we choose our service providers now. We're like, oh, this person seems super fun or really funny or very quiet. And I like that, like, I think that that's really true. Okay, Justine, I know that you're like a big fan of this. Speaking of stories, so why is showing your face and telling your story so effective in attracting clients today? What's your take on that?
I think building that story brand and really just speaking your truth and talking about your whys, and people want to rally around a person, a human being. They want to support a person. So for me, being a young female in business, I mean, I was 22 when I first started, and I grew up in business, and people love to support you, especially in Edmonton. Like, we have the most supportive community. So if I'm showcasing different events that I'm going to, different charitable organizations, people are like, I just love what Justine stands for, and I love what her team stands for. And they're always giving back. And it's so much more than the actual services. They are building a platform to drive change within the community. And so us showcasing that, like, really creates that, I don't know, those loyal followers that want to be a part of what we're doing and help build this
Hmm.
community and get out there and do the same, right? So to give back. And we do have one thing we do at Lipstick is we do the glowing skin and glowing hearts campaign, which
Mm.
I love. So we do that at Christmas. So if they purchase a gift card, we donate 25% of that to the Zebra Child Protection Center. So it's like you're getting that glow and we're giving something back, and that's coming from you as well. And we find people in our organization and our clients are less about like, what can you do for me, what kind of discount can I get, and more about how can we also give back to the community.
I
So
love
that comes
that.
from knowing your audience as well.
Yeah, that's great. And it builds credibility and it makes you a
Yeah.
real person in front of
Mhm.
your clients because a lot of people oh, this is going to kind of sound like silly, but they might idolize people that are on social media a little bit like, oh, they've
Yeah.
got such a great life and they don't have any problems. And then, they look at you as like a real person. I love that. I'm
Mhm.
stealing that.
Yeah, be
um,
relatable, right?
yeah,
Mhm.
totally. Okay, so this is another thing that I've also struggled with personally on my like with my consulting business, and I'm sure others will struggle with, and it's platforms. There's so many routes to social media and getting your content out. There's Pinterest, Instagram, X, TikTok. Like it's too many.
Yeah, they can't come
So
out with anything else
Yeah.
because we can't handle it.
I know. So Alexa, I feel like this is your field. So what's your take on platform overload? Do you think that there's a right platform for every business? Do you think that you should maybe just focus on one or two? Like what's your input, girl?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that you can have kind of an overload, and that if you're spreading yourself too thin and trying to be on every platform, that's not the right strategy. I think it really depends on your goals and also your demographic. So let's say you're wanting to target people maybe more in their 20s, then maybe TikTok seems like a little bit of a smarter move. But if you're looking for people that are maybe more like middle age or a little bit older, Instagram and Facebook is going to be where those people are, or the majority of them. And I think even too, people overlook some of those other ones. Like Pinterest is a really great one, especially for online services. Like if you're trying to sell a course, for example, that's a really great place. Or LinkedIn for, that B2B interaction. That's another one that I think a lot of people miss out on as well.
You said two of them that I didn't even say, Facebook and LinkedIn. I didn't even mention those ones. There's so many.
So many.
I saw your face. You're like, oh yeah, there's more.
That's so funny. So Justine, how do you help your clients choose which platform is actually worth their time?
It comes down to that avatar that I speak of and the strategy. Like there's no coincidences here. It all ties in. And so we know where their ideal audience is playing. So we put them in front of their ideal audience. So that comes with market research that we offer and we provide for our clients. And it's once we do that market research, we can really clearly see which platforms our clients need to be on. And we go there and we play there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I started Blush. We did a bunch of trade shows in the beginning, right? Bridal trade shows. And I mean, that's like TikTok for 20-year-olds, like you knew that all brides were going to be there. And now they don't have that kind of stuff. Now they have all of these online platforms that you have to hire someone like Virago, which is great. It gives you guys a job and you guys are very valuable. But we need to understand where our people are. Otherwise, we're just spinning our tires and we get tired and overwhelmed and exhausted. Yeah. It's amen to amen, Heather. Okay. So thanks, girl. Okay. So Alexa, do you believe that you should create different content for each platform, or can you repurpose across the board? What's your idea?
I think you can repurpose in some areas, but I really do think that creating content specific to that platform is going to be your best bet. And we've seen that time and time again, right? Like we'll create the same exact post it to Instagram and Facebook, and it is completely dead on Facebook. You get barely any views, barely any engagement, and then it pops off on Instagram. So it just goes to show. And it's even things like between, let's say, reels on Instagram and videos on TikTok. You can't even post the same videos across both and expect to get the same results, because the style and the types of content on both of those platforms are so different. So you really do need to choose 1 to 2 platforms, what we recommend, that you think your demographic is going to be, and focus on creating content specific to those platforms.
Okay, that's great advice. Thank you, Alexa. I'm like I will personally listen to this episode as well.
Take notes.
I forget it all. I like blackout. Okay, so my last myth is this, and I feel like I'm guilty of saying this. If your services are good enough, they'll sell themselves. So I take it back, because I feel like you guys are going to prove me wrong. So Alexa, why do you think that so many talented beauty professionals struggle with visibility even when their work is amazing?
The biggest thing is probably because they don't have a strategy. They're just posting pretty images, which is great. You can post a hairstyle that you did, you can post a makeup look that you did on somebody, and that's awesome. It's not to say that those aren't beautiful images, but they're not doing anything. They're just living on the social media and they're not actually converting. So it's because they don't have a strategy. There's no why as to what they're doing. So there's just so much content to consume on social media now, right? Like it's so saturated that you need to have that strategy in place so that you stand out and so that people are looking at your content above everybody else.
And you guys work with people to do this?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was just thinking, like, people aren't going to know how, they're not going to know what their strategy is. Lots of times people don't even know who their ideal client is. They don't know what their top pillars are. They haven't even heard the word pillars. And so I think that, talking to professionals is really valuable, and they can do as much research on their own. But it's really, you guys are worth your weight in gold. So Justine, what are some simple ways for business owners to show off their skills and build their confidence in their audience, do you feel?
I think like just getting on your stories, showing up as who you are, speaking to your ideal customer, continuing to educate them, be intentional, all the things that have come up over and over and over again in this podcast. I just think that authenticity is what people are looking for. So you're creating cheerleaders, you're their biggest, you're your client's biggest cheerleader as well. So just like, and I'm speaking to myself right now because I've really slowed down with going on stories and connecting with my audience. And after this conversation too, I'm like, I need to get back on there. Like I keep saying people want to do business with people. So
Yeah.
it's a good reminder for me too that I need to have a presence on there as well. I need to elevate that. So show your face. You are your business. You are your brand. Get out there, get connecting with people. You got to put in the work and you will get the results.
Yeah, and it won't go unnoticed. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Your efforts, social media, I do think whether it's newsletters or whatever, eventually you do catch momentum, and you will get
Yeah.
that. You will start to see those returns, but you just have to keep at it. You have to be consistent.
Yeah.
So can you share some examples where marketing made a really big difference for someone that already had really good services?
Yeah, this is one thing we haven't talked about, but I'm a huge fan of meta ads. Like, I
Mm,
think media buying is where everything is going. So, as an example, again, I will use Lipstick Empire. We created a series of about 6 different videos, and it was different scenarios to target different people for different issues that they might be having. So, one of them was body contouring. So,
okay.
inch loss. One was targeting maybe like what was one of them, like
Like postpartum, like
postpartum,
moms.
hormonal changes. And those translated so well because you could really speak directly to your audience. And I would be at my doctor's office. My doctor would say, I saw your videos. Like I would be at my psychologist's office and she'd be like, your videos are incredible. It's like speaking to the right people. So I think that's one where, yes, you're paying to play a little bit, but I think like if you are offering a great service, like let's find another way to showcase that as well. So that's a whole other arena that we can play in
Mhm.
that has done really well and it converts.
I love that. And you're talking
Mhm.
about getting directly in front of your people. That's how you do it.
That's how you do
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Wow. This was so valuable. I feel like we could probably create another episode. So maybe we'll brainstorm behind
Yeah,
the scenes.
sure.
But before I go, I always like to give, I mean, there's a ton of tangible takeaways that we have in this episode already, but Alexa, if you could give a piece of advice to a beauty professional who's feeling stuck or overwhelmed by marketing, what would it be?
I mean, not to like try and sell ourselves, but it would honestly be to seek some help and get some guidance from a professional. Doesn't have to be us, but we'd love it if it is us.
Mhm.
But we do these deep dive marketing strategies, right? Like we provide it's a 20+ page document. We do a ton of market research. We look up your demographic and we provide you literally with the framework that you need to get going. And then if you need help implementing it, then we're also there. But it's just even having that baseline to work from to kind of like take it all and put it in one place because it is really overwhelming. There's so much, especially because all these algorithms, all these platforms, they're changing all the time. And you're better, your time is better spent doing what you do best, which is, whatever service you're providing, right? So your time is better spent researching the latest trends in, hair care and all these other, like depending on what your industry is,
Mhm.
your time's not spent better spent on the internet learning about the newest algorithm changes on Instagram, right?
Mhm.
So my biggest piece would be to, if you're able to hire someone to help you out and to take that off your plate so that your time can be spent where it's best.
Yeah, you can focus on your
Yeah.
craft.
Because I'm sure people don't know pricing because I feel like people get scared by
Mhm.
companies like yours. Can you give like a range of like a starting price to something like that, just so people have an idea of what they're looking for? They can maybe budget for it.
Yeah, so I mean, we have packages that start as low as like 500 to 750, upwards of like 3,000 or even more, depending if you're doing like a lot of things. But our biggest thing is that we always want to work within someone's budget. We never want to make someone feel uncomfortable. So we do custom packages, we do payment plans that can be paid over the span of several months. We really
Perfect.
just want to work with people and help people in whatever way we can. So yeah, we're definitely very open to that.
Oh, I love that. Serving the people.
Mhm.
Okay, so where can our people connect with you? Instagram, all of your Twitter, X, Oh my God, I sound like such an old person right now. Get on the face tweet. That's what my dad says all the time.
We're not on
But
X.
No.
We don't
okay,
play
good.
on X,
No.
but for some of our clients, it's a great place, but not
Yeah.
for us. So you can find us at Virago Social Co. on Instagram or viragosocialco.ca. Our website is a great resource.
Yeah.
There's a ton of information there, and you can find us very easily on there. We also wanted to give a promotional item to all of your listeners as well, if that's okay. We'd like to
Please.
provide your listeners with a free digital audit. So that's normally $500, but we would love to take a look at their social platforms, their website, what's going on behind the scenes, and then put something together for them to show them, how they can take things next level. So we wanted to provide that for your followers.
Thank you so much. They will love it and appreciate it. Today has been wonderful. I'm so glad that we were able to get through all the technical difficulties that we had last time. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if the listeners ever have any input or questions or anything, you can leave it in the comments, send us a DM, send Virago a DM. We're really accessible. And I think that, don't be too hard on yourself, because this is hard. Marketing is challenging, and these girls are here to help you. And so am I. So we will sign off and see you later. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
All right, another episode bites the dust. If you loved this conversation as much as I did, don't forget to hit follow, leave a review, or even send it to a friend you think would enjoy it. And because I like to keep things fun, we're always running giveaways with our amazing guests. So make sure to check out the show notes, our Instagram page, get in on the details on how to get the free stuff, because it's free and fun. And who doesn't like that? Another little disclaimer: while I love sharing advice and business wisdom, I am not your lawyer, I'm not your accountant, and I'm not your fairy godmother. If you do want to be best friends, though, you can hit me up. Everything on this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only, so no lawsuits, okay? Thank you for hanging out with me today. If you'd like to hang out more, you can find me on Instagram at I am Heather Dick and at the Expansion Code. And all of our free resources and consulting packages are on the website, www.theexpansioncode.ca. I appreciate you being here more than you know. I will see you next time.